Hey, what's up guys? Weldon Customs here, and today I'm actually taking a video and a picture of something I'm doing for my next video right here. But I thought this was a great opportunity to do a little behind the scenes of me taking this photo right here and diving in a little bit more into toy photography, ACBA, and giving some, minor tips here and there overall. So basically, I'm trying to take a picture of this right here. I want Tony Stark to be with Captain America, trying to explain to him something using the screen, the computer screen, as a reference right there. And in doing this, I want to take a picture so it looks like they're in a specific area or room, basically. But at the same time, you wouldn't even know I'm using this whole gigantic base doing that. So one tip for you guys, when you're taking ACBA or pictures, try to use your surroundings, try to manipulate the environment, because not all of us have the opportunity to have like dioramas or all these different set pieces and stuff like that. So sometimes you have to get creative of what you have. Try to see different places that you could use that, with a certain angle, you could try to trick the people that are viewing the photo, not realizing what you're actually taking a photo of. You want to be creative, basically. So other than that, that's what I'm doing right here. Now this photo will be in the dark. The only source of light I have really is just that LED light in the back right there. So that's going to be a long exposure. Now before we get into that, a couple key things that you always should have is a tripod. I have a tripod right here. 90% of the time, it's always good to have a tripod. If your camera has IS, you should be okay. Image stabilization. But it's always good to have a tripod, especially for dark photos, because you're going to need that long exposure photo taken, and a tripod is what you need to use. Alright, other than that, going into the settings right here, make sure if you're using a tripod to turn off your IS, because it could be counterproductive sometimes, because if you have a really long exposure, like 5 seconds, 10, the IS might not be the IS would not benefit basically. So we are going to turn off the IS right here. Now for a dark photo, ISO is also really important. ISO is right here. Every camera is different. If either you have a DSLR, you have a micro four thirds, you have a full frame, ISO, every camera has a different sensor. So every camera might register noise a little bit differently. Camera noise, that is. I like to have my camera maxed out at 1600. I don't like to go beyond that, because from my own experience, I noticed that if I go like 3200 or even higher, there is a little bit noise I don't like, and it's really hard to even fix it in post-production. So I keep that ISO 1600. I leave it at that. That's the max I will go. But always play around with your own camera settings. Everyone's different. Everything is different. Exposure, I'm going to keep it at 0.3. I think it's fine for this photo right here. Now when we get to aperture, now I know a lot of people like to have a low aperture number, because everyone loves to have that shot where the subject's in focus and everything's all blurred out. It's a beautiful picture, it's a nice picture, and I understand that 100%, but sometimes you want everything in focus sometimes. So I'm going to do an example right here. So right now we'll do a photo at 2.8 of Tony Stark right there. And he should be the only thing in focus pretty much, while everything else would be out of focus. And Captain America is pretty close to him though, but he pretty much will be out of focus right there. So that's the photo. That's how it looks like right there. And it's a nice photo, a decent photo. But I want to explain in my photo that I'm showing a story, I'm showing a moment. In my moment, I'm showing Tony Stark is trying to explain something to Captain America using the screen on the right as reference. So in my photo, I want everything in focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the aperture all the way up. The higher the number, the more everything will be in focus. You're going to go all the way to 13 actually. But doing this in the dark, even in light, actually, if you do f13, even in the light, it's going to be a long exposure. Doing in the dark will be a longer exposure. So your camera might take a couple of seconds to take the photo. In doing that, you have a tripod, will help stabilize the camera, of course. If you want to, you can actually put the camera on a timer, like a 2-second timer, because when you press the button, if you have like a 10-second exposure, sometimes just pressing the button might shake the camera a little bit. So this might be like a 2-second exposure, so I should be okay. But If you do anything longer than like a 5-second exposure, you might want to set your camera to a timer. So we're gonna take it at f13 right here, and here we go. 1, 2, about a 2-second exposure, maybe less, 1.5 or 1.3. So yeah, there you go. This is the final product right here. Captain America is more in focus. Also, the screen in the background is more in focus, so you can see what they're looking at, and everything looks pretty good to me. Also, I want to point out, when you're taking pictures for ACBA or you're taking pictures for toy photography, your main goal is not only to capture a moment, but also basically you want to capture real life. You want to bring your figures, you want to bring your toys to life. You want to show something straight out of a comic book. So when it comes to posing, try your best to make it as realistic as you can. For instance, Tony Stark in my picture explaining something to Captain America. He's trying to show him, tell him something, and in doing that, just like a regular human being, like I'm doing right now, you have hand gestures. Your hands are going up and down. It's just human nature. That happens. It happens all the time. So when I'm taking my photo, I make sure that not only are Tony Stark's hands up, they're not straight like this. You bring the palms up. Small details like that make your picture go a long way sometimes. So I have Tony Stark explaining something. Both his palms are kind of up on a upward angle in my picture. Also, both arms aren't at the same length. One's higher than the other. Just trying to make it as realistic as possible, basically, and the best you can do. And of course, you have Captain America in his nice pose, his nice posture, looking up, trying to understand what Tony is saying. Alright, so that's about it, guys. I just want to show this off really quickly, some tips. Like I said before, not everybody has the opportunity to have some crazy diorama, some crazy background, so sometimes you have to be really creative, use different parts of this. Like, if you have something big like this, use different parts. My main purpose of this, it looks like you're just looking at a screen, a big screen. The background back there looks like a wall pillar, You wouldn't know that this was the whole thing like this. That's my point. Be creative. Try to see different scenarios. Try to see different angles of things. And, use your camera. Use your mind. Be creative. Different angles go a long way as well. And that's about it. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Also, I have a lot of videos on photography and also customizing. Check out my tutorials. I have a link underneath as well. And that's about it, guys. So thanks for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go to wildlandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Peace!